Remind me. Hello, NuPIC. So we're broadcasting now. I was just going over closed issues from Sprint 24. We had a few minor issues in NuPIC core, mostly just cleanup, but nothing major. In NuPIC, we've got two new encoders, I believe, geospatial encoder and a coordinate encoder. So that's cool. Hopefully somebody tries some things out with those. It's looks like from internal demonstrations, those seem to be working rather well. So I added coverage reports to the NuPIC repository. We cleaned up some README instructions, some more cleanup things like downgrading message logs. Several of these tickets are about coverage, things I did to support coverage, improving the new encoders. Had a few community contributions that were just updating help text or doing spelling corrections and comments. That's about it. This is the tooling server, so there was some work on the tooling server. Utensil has been doing a lot of work on the tooling server with me, which has been great. So he's got, there was no status in GitHub. Well, there was a condition in GitHub where if there was a PR, but it was not mergeable, and we posted a status that said the status was good. It looked like it was good to merge. It wasn't quite evident that it was not mergeable. So Utensil worked on adding a status that would post that it was not good to merge because it was just not mergeable. I think he's still working on a few aspects of that. Nothing else major. I did investigate trying to see if we could deploy our tooling server on Heroku, which would be a little bit better for the community since it's free and it's easier to collaborate. It's really easy to deploy. You just push to the Heroku remote branch, but it was problematic. So I discussed why in that ticket, but I'm going to give that up for now. The tooling server needs a bit of a re-architecture before we can do something like that. So that is the work that was done on the sprint. And now we are here on current issues. I already have some issues planned for Sprint 25, things that have come up that I just pushed on to Sprint 25. Some of them are wallboard things, so this is a part of the wallboard. Oh, looks like my... There it is. This board we're looking at here with the issues is part of the wallboard, so I have a few things I want to update on it. Those are just kind of my own administrative tasks. Sprinter is also a part of that. That's an internal project that I use to support this issues page. On NuPIC, there's an issue that Chaitan created to extend spatial pooler to support an n-dimensional topology. And there's tickets in NuPIC and NuPIC core for that. And I've also got a plan to configure a code scan tool for both NuPIC and NuPIC core. So that's currently on the books for Sprint 25. So back to Sprint 24, which is the sprint we're closing out. Let's look at open pull requests. Can you guys all see my screen okay? So it looks like...
No, I think it's off now.
How did that happen?
There it is.
That's odd. Okay.
There we go.
All right. Speak up if it goes off again. Okay. So let me just look at NuPIC core first. So there's Utensil is working on this pull request, which I believe is in a mergeable state right now. It's the one to move towards more a Windows-friendly build. It's not everything that needs to get done to support Windows, but it's movement in that direction. I believe this is passing, although there's not a whole lot of validation going on in the NuPIC core build. So I have asked Mark and David to take a look at this because it's mostly CMake changes. And let me assign that. I'm going to assign that to Mark. Why not? For review. So there's that for NuPIC core. Open pull request for NuPIC. Mark has this anomaly modular pull request, which I can't remember if it's passing or not. No, it's not currently passing. It was passing, but I was still hoping that you, Subutai, or Scott could review this. It has changed a bit since the last review, so it needs to get running in Travis. And Travis has been not very stable recently, so this could be a errored build. I've seen a lot of errored builds lately. Yeah, it looks like just the Windows or the OS X build errored. I've had to go in and restart jobs quite a bit. I'm actually considering removing the OS X build until they get a little bit more stability. So I might bring that up on the mailing list. But so I think
I can definitely take a look at this PR.
Okay, great. So I will. I think it's assigned to Scott, so I'm going to. It's no assigned to nobody, so I'll give this to you. Okay, great. This grok cleanup is actively being worked on by I think this Thomas Moore. Yeah. Oh, he was just. It's rebuilding right now. So. The pip installable thing is still a work in progress. It's getting closer and closer. Right now, I think the last report I saw from David was that integration tests were not passing. But there's just a few edge cases right now that seem to be not working well. I want to try and get all of those edge cases cleaned up so that we get them working. Because if there's a few edge cases just within the NuPIC hackers community, there's going to be a lot more within the users community. And then
I was using it, I was trying it a little bit earlier today, and I ran into some issues. And again, I'm trying to do something slightly non-standard, but something that should be supported.
Oh, good. Yeah, please report that on the mailing list or on this ticket, although the ticket comments are getting pretty hefty. Okay. The last pull request we have open is something that Mark is currently working on. And this is great. It's an issue that I issued or that I created, where at runtime, if you pass a row of data into a NuPIC model with the wrong data type, it should be able to find that out and give you an error, a runtime error, instead of just kind of swallowing it and throwing some weird error eventually. So Mark is working on this, and I believe, yeah, he's got some build problems, but he's asking questions in the mailing list and he's making progress. So those are our pull requests. So the cool thing is we don't have a whole lot of open pull requests, which is great. We're keeping current. And so now let's just look at issues. Let's look at current NuPIC core issues. So the C++ unit tests has been assigned to Fergal for a month, and I'm stealing it back. So I'm going to try and work on this sprint. Fergal said he got some progress made, but none of it's in a remote branch. So I asked him to put anything he's got in a remote branch. With or without that, I'm going to continue with this and try and get something completed by the end of Sprint 25. Austin has been talking about working on supporting Solaris with NuPIC Core and NuPIC. I think he's going to have some time, not this coming week, but the next week to work on that. So that's assigned to him. David has a few issues here that have to do with the region implementation factory. He'll be working on that after the pip installable ticket is done. So if that gets merged in this coming sprint, he'll move on to this, these region implementation factories things. And Chayton, you still have an issue about an assertion for dimensions. So those are the current open core issues that I'm going to move over to Sprint 25. NuPIC, the cleanup grok code and unit tests is currently being worked on. The better swarm error when swarm description is wrong predicted field. Right, Mark said he would probably address this with his model, with his PR. So that's why that's currently showing up here. Same thing with this emit warning. That's the same PR that would address that. Separate code coverage reports for unit and integration tests. Right now, if you go to the NuPIC repository, we have a coverage report here. It says 15%. That's only unit tests. I would love to have a coverage for integration tests as well. This is not a high priority item for me. I think I might just put it on the backlog. I think I have other things that I'd rather work on, but it'd be nice to have eventually. Okay, so I drop that to the backlog. Assuming I don't put things on the backlog that are currently within Sprint 24, I'm going to move them into Sprint 25, just so you all know that. There's a run swarm failure on Ubuntu that just still needs to be addressed. I think it's assigned to no one. Okay, so last thing I had was pinging Sergey to see if he had any more information, because I'm hoping it got fixed. So we still have this easy way to make Python changes without recompiling everything. I want to keep this open even after the pip installable branch is merged in, because I want to make sure that that does give us this. So ideally we'll have a Python setup develop target where that would accomplish this, but it might not work, so I want to make sure that it works before we close this. Move Docker stuff out of the root folder. I think this is fixed now. Yeah, that's fixed. That was something that David worked on. He moved several directories out of the root folder. NuPIC should be pip installable. I agree. So that's happening. This is another bug problem running Python tests. Do not remember the current state of this. Yeah, I guess that's why it's still assigned to me, because I don't remember what I need to do there. So I'm going to keep that on my plate. Don't require DYLD library path. And I don't remember what the status of this is. Everybody wants it. Should be resolved by pip installable. Okay, so we'll keep it open and verify it after that is added. I think this one too, the install binaries to default location by default. This thing would be solved by pip installable too, and I believe so with this. So you don't have to edit your Python path or path, etc. So all three of these are kind of addressed by the pip installable thing. Move GitHooks folder into NuPIC. That is done. That was done with David's cleanup of the root folder. Okay, so all of the remaining issues in Sprint 24. Let me go back to. I don't have a complete functionality of all the things I want to do on this kind of patched together page. So all of the open issues in Sprint 24, now that I've moved the ones out that I don't want us to work on, are going to be moved into Sprint 25. And Sprint 24 we're going to close. Okay. And now we'll go to NuPIC core. Sprint 24 NuPIC core issues. C++ test, yes, I want that. Like I said, Austin will work on the Solaris build. I'm going to leave the region implementation stuff in here. Because David's going to work on that after the pip installable is complete. So all of these issues in NuPIC core currently in Sprint 24 will be moved into Sprint 25. And we're closing Sprint 24. And there we go. For the tooling server, this isn't as important, so there's nothing. It's only one issue that Utensil is working on that we will keep and move into Sprint 25, and everything else is closed. All right. So a quick review. Let's do a quick review of. Let me refresh this page. Make sure I didn't miss anything. One sec. This goes to GitHub several times to load this. Issues. Something broke. One sec. There we go. Okay, so Sprint 24. There's a couple of Fluent issues. I've been working on trying to add any Minta open source projects to make sure that they have a Travis build, and so that even if there are no tests there, and most of them do have tests, just to make sure that they are running in Travis. And if that's easy, it's easy enough at this point to add them to coveralls as well. So for Fluent, I have a task to configure and run it in Travis, and I'll probably add a coverage report as well. So our external dependencies repositories, there's still an issue for Python 2.7. That's a pull request that I'll leave in Austin's hands, and we still need to remove the pill dependency, which is still in Austin's hands. Again, not super high priority items, but cleanup items. And these other two things in Darwin 64, nobody's screaming about them, but they do need to get done. And then there's a couple of wallboard issues, not a huge deal. But it would be nice to have an area for regression test status. Although those have been passing just fine because there's a very simple test that doesn't do a whole lot. Okay, so those are all the rest of the issues in Sprint 24. I'll probably just move all of these over into Sprint 25. Okay, I think that is it. So now we've got Sprint 25, got 36 issues already in Sprint 25, and that includes pull requests. So one in tooling, several in core, a bunch in NuPIC, and a couple other little things, but that's where we are at. And now we can talk about how things went in the sprint. If anybody has any feedback, if you were involved in any of these issues, let me know now or forever hold your peace. Okay, sounds good to me. Anybody else have anything they would like to discuss about the work coming up in Sprint 25 before we sign off?
That looks pretty good.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a nice weekend.
You too. Thanks a lot.
Take
Have
care.
a good weekend, Matt.